You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juan.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
And I'm your host, Ryan, Legend Killer Whitman.
That's right, he's back, and together we are
Rope
Break family. How's every single one of you? Hope that all of you are doing amazing. And few minutes after SmackDown, we're just gonna be talking about this show. This time, actually, we're all happy because the show was really good. It doesn't happen really often, but actually, it was a great show. So I'm going to start with Ryan. Actually, what are your thoughts about the overall show? Like, did you enjoy it?
Overall, yeah, I would say it was a very enjoyable show. Go home show before Summerslam, so you got to go big or go home. And I think they did a good job of building up getting those final little storylines in there for SummerSlam on Sunday, and I'm a lot more excited for SummerSlam than I was 2 hours ago.
Yeah, well, let's remember, everybody, it's next week SummerSlam. It's not this week. We have one more week of shows, but you can tell that WWE is really warming up. It's really warming up to a great pay-per-view. So Jean-Paul, let's start with you with the beginning of the show. Before thank you so very much for everybody that is watching our videos. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for being there for us. So don't forget AEW Dynamite with Jean-Paul, myself. NXT, the Legend Killer is always there at heart, but he's here right here, a flash, ready to talk about wrestling. So Jean-Paul, Big E, and John Morrison, and didn't happen. Tell me a little bit about this, Jean-Paul.
No, I mean, I do like when it started. SmackDown, I don't know, it just feels more old school to me. It actually feels like wrestling where you watch Raw, these guys, okay, boom, let's cut a promo on each other before the match. Hey, I'm Big E, I'm legit. He said, I was the NXT champ, I was the Intercontinental champ, people say, oh, I'm nothing without my brothers. Look at all this stuff I've done, singles wrestler, I'm going to be legit. And then John Morrison cuts a promo on him. Oh, yeah, you're going to eat those words just like you're going to eat my boot, And they go to start this match, and then, Retribution comes out. They attack. They look, a little bit more legit, I would say, tonight on SmackDown, which I appreciate because last, Monday Night Raw and even, last week SmackDown, they were like, oh, okay, they had the chainsaw. Like I said, Leatherface, like what the hell's going on here? Like, okay, legit. But, this I liked. Because now it shows, they're really disturbing the law and order on SmackDown. They pretty much stopped this match from happening.
Yeah, and that's what ended up happening. Retribution, we got another part of, they're showing up and they're still causing, chaos. And that's, what the Nexus did. So I really like this because it's showing that, like you said, it's causing, chaos during, the show itself. You see Michael Cole and Kurt is already, oh, my God, I'm out.
It's done.
Why? I mean, it's 5 short people. Why you have to run, especially Corey Graves? I'm I don't get that. But at least, like you said, they're trying to make Retribution somewhat better. Because a lot of people are crapping on them. Oh, they're too short. We know who they are. We don't really care. So, Ryan, what are your thoughts on this?
I think this, to me, was the first week that I started taking Retribution seriously. Because, like you said, the past, since they debuted, everyone's been like, oh, who are these short guys? But now, I feel like they actually caused a ruckus this week. And one thing that kind of bothered me at the beginning of the show was how they showed last week, the chainsaw, the destruction, and then just starts with Graves and Cole just oh, we're back here on Friday Night SmackDown, but there was nothing. But then they fixed it then right away.
Yeah, no, and see, he makes a good point because it should be hey, it's we're a little scared, Retribution.
Yeah, and I love how they even said that they had the extra security, and that didn't mean any bull, that didn't mean shit. It's okay.
And, hey, thank you. Welcome to Friday Night SmackDown. And it's yeah, everything's good. It's if you watch anime, Tokyo, or the next day of in the next episode, everything's rebuilt. Everything's cool.
Yeah, Godzilla was never there.
Yeah, and then, it's at the end of the one episode, everybody's dead. The school and the same school that all the series goes. Ranma, Goku, everybody. Yep. It's the same the same college. The same high school. The next episode, everything, yeah, it's legit. Yeah, that's that we should say how WWE operates.
Yeah,
that's the logic that WWE operates. But good on Retribution because everybody needs to feel like they're something to be afraid of. If you're not doing that, then you're really failing on that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought Kalisto was one of them because how short he is, but he's not Kalisto, so it's fine. We finally found his way back to the States. I don't know if he actually went illegally or like legally. I don't know that. We'll ask that, when we have Kalisto on. But like that was good. It's a good way to start the show. But now, guys, like we had like a little bit of like King Corbin is talking to the guys outside because they attacked Morrison and Big E. So he's trying to be the leader to fight against Retribution. So I want to be the leader. I'm cool. You guys want to let me?
And this is another one of those things, like I said, it reminds me of actual, like, kind of older wrestling. Backstage when there'd be segments like The Rock is talking to, like, I think the famous one, Kane, Hogan, all them, like, interacting. You never see that on Monday Night Raw. You never see a group of people interacting unless they're directly feuding with each other. Here we saw the entire locker room. You kind of had all the baby faces like all piled together, and then the heels were all on the one side, and they're all like, what the hell, Retribution? They're so bullshit. And it's like, who's going to step up? And like you said, Big E was kind of like giving, a legit speech, and then Corbin came and he's like, oh, no, you guys need a king. You guys are bullshit. So like, that's what I like, though. Everybody was together, and it's like, why can't Monday Night Raw do, legit stuff like this?
The one thing is, like, at least they're trying to show more effort. It seems like that. It seems like effort is being shown, and they're trying to be more compelling with the storylines. Somebody said that like when they're great in SmackDown, actually it's like TB14 now. I don't have like completely like confirmed, but if it is, good, because we're seeing more enticing stuff. Yeah. Right, Ryan? Like we're seeing like more stuff that like it's catching everybody's eye.
Yeah, it's a lot more interesting, and as Sean Paul was saying, it's good to see the backstage, the locker room in a group, because it's very rare that you see that, and the fact that they have them in a group, so they kind of have a common goal that they're working towards, getting rid of Retribution, but then you still have the individual characters like Corbin, like, oh, well, I'll take care of this myself, you need a king. Like, you still have him doing his heel stuff, you have Big E being a babyface. It works really well in this environment.
It works extremely well, and that's good. Like, see, like, hey, if we're all happy, it means that like they're doing something.
Oh, right. Yeah. Like you said, everybody got their stuff over, because then Sheamus came over. He's like, oh, if I wasn't wearing this coat, fella, you'd see all my goosebumps, but and then Sheamus, the one thing, like, of course, he had to have another match with Shorty G, and it's like, okay, we've seen this 1,000 times. That was a little bit but I do like what they're doing with Sheamus as well.
Yeah, fella is good. Like I said, overall, the show was like to me, like a 7.5, even an 8. It was pretty good. Bayley and Sasha Banks. They were going to have like the Battle Royal to determine number 1 contender for Bayley at SummerSlam. So like they came out and they're pretty much saying, hey, we're dominating the division. Sorry, like Stephanie, stop like, writing our cocktails. Like stop like the bullshit. We're legit. Don't get involved with us. And they said, well, we've been doing like commentary. We've been doing every single job assigned in the WWE. So this time we're going to do what? Maybe ring announcing. So they got the cards. And I really enjoy both of them. So it's going really well for me. And they kill pretty much a few of the participants of this Battle Royal. They have the Iconics. They have Tegan Nox. They have Shotzi. That fortunately, Jean Paul mentioned in the NXT review, she got her helmet back and all like her hair like attire and everything. She got that back. I guess like they caught the thief. I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah, I saw like the Instagram video. The cops were like at this like with her, and they had this car. All the 4 doors were open. The trunk was open, and she's like getting her stuff out of the trunk. And I'm like, that guy's probably in the cop car, like done.
Yeah, no, like he's doing an episode of Cops.
Yeah, bad boys.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, it was good. It was good. So they have that, and also like they have Bianca Belair in it. They have Asuka. That it turned out to be in the end, but they had also Lacey Evans, they have Naomi, they have Nikki Cross. Unfortunately, guys, Nikki Cross went back to like the place that she used to be, an afterthought. Now that she's not, aligned with Bliss, it's like, okay, girl, go back to catering, go back where you belong. We don't need you anymore. You're not legit. So like I think
like and see the thing with Nikki Cross though, she's legit, but I could never see her being champion, especially with all the other caliber of women you have. Like Asuka, like Nikki Cross, they present her more like a goofy, like we always say, the Tasmanian devil. You're not going to put the championship belt on that. Exactly. I'm sorry. So
yeah, but like they have like even Shayna Baszler was there. So like Ryan, like what do you think about this whole Battle Royal? Like, give me your thoughts on your impressions on this.
I thought it was a good Battle Royal. I think it was one of those situations though where WWE maybe showed their hand too early when they were going through like announcing the individual wrestlers in each. And then they just go, oh, this can't be right. And then it just stops with Asuka. And then just the rest just come piling in. So that was kind of like, okay, it's a bit of a tip-off to who might win this. But I mean, it's the logical decision, and Asuka's done, I think, a phenomenal job of filling in that top babyface role since Becky left.
No, yeah, very good stuff. I was rooting for Bianca Belair though. Like she had a really good showing. I love when she lifted up Tamina and then she eliminated it like that. I really like that. I was like, Bianca's gonna win the whole thing. What do you think, Paul?
Bianca to me is legit. She would have been awesome to win, but I'm like, this is for the SmackDown Women's Championship, so she's not going to move to SmackDown because, she's in the storyline with Zelina Vega and obviously, her husband, Montez Ford, the Raw Tag Team Champions. So it's like, she's not leaving. So I'm like, maybe they'll do Shayna Baszler because she's only really in the Raw Underground. So that was kind of my hope and my pick. And then, the final three, and then which the final two, like everybody thought, Corey, Michael Cole included, and then it's like, oh wait, Dana Brooke, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then she was like thrown out immediately.
So
it's like who gives? It's like who gives a shit? Next, like you dumb bimbo. So she's out of here. And then it's like, okay, now Asuka won this thing, and it's like, okay, some people might be like, well, she's going against Sasha Banks. Like, what are they doing? She's gonna have to wrestle twice in one night. And to me, I mean, if they present it in a legit way, Asuka could walk out of there and she could be Asuka 2 belts, or she could walk out of there obviously with nothing. Now, you don't know if maybe like Sasha Banks retains and then she tries to help Bayley and then Bayley loses, or like vice versa. If they present a story in a legit way, I'm fine with it, but I would have loved to still see Shayna Baszler against Bayley because you could have told that story from the Survivor Series match.
I think that I agree with you. I think that if they would have wanted to go that route, Shayna was good. I still support Bianca. I mean, for Tegan, I got 2 seconds of excitement, and then it's like, no, like go back. It's not there yet. Go back. No.
Oh yeah, none of the other women I didn't think. I mean, like Shotzi, Tegan, all that. I mean, they had a decent showing, but I was like, there's nothing. That's
So, but I feel that I'm probably they're gonna go the route where she wins 1 belt. I don't know which one, but she's gonna walk out at least with 1 belt. Your thoughts on that, Ryan? Does she win both? She comes out with nothing, or 1 belt at least?
I think she comes up with both.
Do you think that Asuka 2 belts?
I think it's going to be a undisputed champion Jericho situation. I think she's going to get both belts.
Yeah, it might be. I mean,
that I wouldn't. Now, now, if she wins both and they unify them, then I'm fine with it. But if I'm booking it, she's just going to beat Sasha, and then Sasha and Bayley, they feud at, I don't know, whatever. Not payback because they have to defend the belts. But see, she could lose here, and then that causes the turmoil, and then they lose the belts at payback. And then that really kickstarts the feud because then they go from having all the gold to none of the gold.
That's another thing to mention. Payback is going to be the next week after
SummerSlam. The following Sunday. The
following week, and then they're going to have to defend their tag team belts. So I think maybe after all these 2 pay-per-views, they might not have any gold at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's guys, is weird. And I mean, WWE, I don't know why they do this, but okay. And also we saw Liv Morgan, we saw Ruby Riott, pretty brief with the Iconics. They're going to keep prolonging that rivalry for Monday Night Raw. So I think everybody was happy because we got to see a great showing of the girls. And except for Dana Brooke, for example,
Next.
John Paul and Dana Brooke had a pretty rocky relationship. I think that one show out of the whole time we've done Robert, he was actually excited for Dana Brooke. But guys,
what was that?
Yeah, let's move on, guys. Nikki hugs Alexa. She's like, "Oh my God, Lexi, I'm sorry." So. And Alexa, he's like, no, I'm good. I just need some answers from Braun. We're going to be talking about that, guys. That storyline is pretty cool. I'm really behind this storyline just because, of course, hey, I want to be your friend, but more than your friend. Can you give me a shot? No, well, I love those stories. At least that's me.
The soap operas.
Oh, yeah, soap opera. Yeah, I got to be I got to channel my Kalisto, my Lucha House Party thing. So, of course, I got to love that. Something that I don't know if any one of you really appreciated was Sheamus and Shorty G. Like Jean Paul said, we've seen that plenty of times, and especially if you give me the same outcome, I'm not going to care a single thing. So, Mr. Whitman, Sheamus and Shorty G.
Yeah, I like Jean Paul. I didn't care about this match. I feel like it's something that we've just seen countless times. So, how many times can you throw those 2 guys in the ring together?
Yeah. Paul, anything.
Yeah, I mean, if it would have been, it was, white noise, bro kick, done. If it would have been, white noise, Corbin comes out. But see, Corbin and Shorty G and, Sheamus, they're all kind of heels. We saw Shorty G, he's tries to be babyface, but he's also maybe a heel. We don't really know. I think he's torn in between, So, like, I don't know why you're feuding it. I would have rather seen Sheamus just, either beat up a job guy or not have a match at all. You know what I mean? It's like, what was the point of this? I didn't
Use
really
those
get
minutes for something else.
Yeah, exactly.
For example, for this segment, that it was really cool. AJ Styles, he came out with like his new person that is going to be running statistics for him, and happens to be Joseph Parker or Joseph Park, or for the ones that we know TNA, like all of us here, Abyss. So good stuff.
The one. I mean, I popped real big for this, and I especially because I knew the feud. So I'm like, it's a TNA reunion in the ring, and I'm HARD. I'm like, this is legit. And the one thing I was like, really? Is when Michael Cole and Corey Graves, they were like, who the hell is this doof? Who's this moron? I'm like, you're burying Abyss.
Well, I mean, they're never going to acknowledge him as Abyss.
Yeah.
So, but like, Ryan, I'm pretty sure you love this. So walk me through this. How did you like all of this? Because it was a long segment, but really good though.
Yeah, it was a good segment, and I am very excited about the possible match that it's going to be setting up for SummerSlam between Hardy and AJ Styles. I think those two guys. Did they ever face each other in Impact?
In Impact, yeah, they did.
Yeah. I don't think in WWE yet.
No, in WWE, but like in Impact, yeah.
Okay, they did in Impact. But I mean, again, that was like probably over a decade ago. So it's gonna be exciting to see at this point in their careers what they can do together.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. Like AJ Styles came out, he said like there's gonna be a new system to kind of determine the contenders for the IC Championship, and it's like, okay, we're gonna have AJ Styles my name, and then we're gonna come out with somebody else that like has made a little effort to be right there in contention with me, and then they lift up the board that they had, and nobody comes out, and then it's like, okay, well, nobody's at the top, nobody's in my league, and then Jeff Hardy comes out, and he's like, hey, the IC Championship is very important for me because that's the belt that like I held many moons ago, and that's the very first singles belt that I held. So he keeps going at it, and he's just like, hey, I want a match with you because I really didn't have my match in the tournament. So like Paul, did you enjoy this?
Oh yeah, I loved it, and I forget he's
Since
like.
You love Impact that much.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I was whacking to this. This was legit, and I love when he was like, I forget what the whole thing, but the acronym was PISS. He's like, this is the whatever, and then it's spelled piss, and the crowd's like piss, and he's like, all right, that's a work in progress. We got to think of a new name. And the whole time, Abyss is like, ooh, like in the back, like a Paul Bear, like freaking out, like he didn't know what was going on. So this was good. Jeff Hardy. This will be a legit matchup. They have the match signed for next week. I don't know what, that's going to be the big pop, for the go-home show for SummerSlam. So that will be cool. But hopefully there's some, screwiness. There's some fuckery. So it's like, blah, blah, blah. And Styles could maybe be like, you know what? Screw you. You, me at SummerSlam. Because I think that's where this match should really take place. It's SummerSlam. So I don't care if that card is loaded. You could have 10 matches. I'm like, whatever. It's, it's the second show next to WrestleMania. So I don't know why this is just on an episode of SmackDown, but regardless, I'm excited to see this match.
Well, yeah, I think that you said they probably have a lot of matches, and also like it's worth mentioning next week, and starting next week, guys, all the shows in WWE are going to be finally live again, and they're not going to be held in the Performance Center anymore. They have like a Coliseum, like a small venue, like in Florida, so they're going to be taping from now on there. Not even taping, every show is going to be live. Summerslam is going to be live, NXT Takeover is going to be live. So finally, WWE, little by little, is incorporating the crowd because they're gonna have like virtual reactions, like the NBA are having. I think, they can hear. Well, I guess they're gonna have Skype or they're gonna have us. It's like you blow, Sheamus. It's like, okay. All right.
They should do what some baseball things are doing. You can like get a life-size cutout of yourself.
Yeah, and then they have the fans. Yeah, they're gonna try to like make the environment better for the wrestlers. So it's cool, and like WWE finally is gonna go back to being live. So that's even more cool because now we're not gonna have spoilers or anything of that matter. But like you said, I think Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles, they're finally using their guys, the caliber guys. It's like, hey, what can we do with these two? Make them have a feud. People will be interested in this. People that want to like revisit Impact, TNA, good stuff on that. But something that I didn't like is that we get a promo, Sheamus and Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. They're out there and they're talking. How do you say little in Japanese? I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
And Shinsuke goes, whatever, Well, I don't know in Japanese. But then, of course, the Lucha House Party, they are shown as like thieves.
No, so, I mean, I don't see. Like, I didn't look at it that way. I just thought it's like, hey, let's screw with these guys because obviously, spoiler alert, they knew their boy Kalisto was back. So it's like, let's steal the belts. Let's get these guys pissed off. Lindsay Grand Metalik has a match against Nakamura tonight. So
Yes.
it's like we get them all pissed off. We get them hot. Kalisto comes out. We get the win. Hey, maybe if we beat these guys, we steal their belts, we piss them off, maybe we'll get a title match, which I think is the right choice because we've been saying that how long Lucha House Party, they need to be SmackDown Tag Team Champs. So I think that's where this is going. And I mean, hey, that's just, I'm not saying I like it, but that's just typical WWE booking. How do you get a title match? You got to beat the champ. Which bullshit.
That's the way that like they present contenderships. So Ryan, do you like this matchup? Like the Lucha House Party going against Cesaro and Nakamura. Like I think that like the lack of tag team division, the lack of tag teams on SmackDown. This is the only possible outcome that you can have.
Yeah, I'm good with the matchup. I wasn't a fan of the setup of the matchup of the stealing of the belts. I'm like, all right, it just I didn't like it that much. I thought like as the baby face, you know what I mean? But no, the matchup itself, then the match, it was fine. It was a fine match between two teams that, we've seen it before, but they have good chemistry together.
No, yeah. No, I really see. I agree with Ryan on that because like really you gotta delete, like with all these situations that are happening in the world, and then you have to make them steal something.
They should have put at least a pinata there, like traded them. Like, all right, here's some candy, some Tootsie Rolls, some Smarties. Tomorrow,
so they're gonna be watching what I grab. What I'm telling you that because everybody watches SmackDown and they're gonna be.
They'll be like, all right, Lindsay, all right.
Yeah. Hey, be careful, Lindsay. Yeah, be careful. Grand Metalik. So, and then like Cesaro and Nakamura, they said that like they're gonna just like squeeze them like mosquitoes or something like that. Like so, Nakamura is improving his English. I'm liking that. They had a good match. Like, Metalik is like a pretty good wrestler. And Shinsuke, we know what he's capable of doing. But see, like Jean-Paul, like spoiled for all of us. The boy is back. Like I said, we don't know how he got there. Legally, you guys go ask him. And like, Kalisto is back. We didn't know where he was.
I mean, they said, I don't, was he actually hurt? I mean, obviously they just say, oh yeah, surgery, blah, blah, blah. I didn't follow Kalisto that much to know if he was actually like injured and was getting surgery or if it was just a travel thing, but the dude looks ripped. So whatever he was out, he was definitely hitting the gym. So he's back, and I mean, I'm excited for it. Now, I don't know if hopefully this doesn't mean that they're going to add King Corbin, so it's going to be 6-man tag.
No, I hope not. I hope not, and like I see, like Grand Metalik got the win because Nakamura got distracted, of course, and then he do the elbow, and then he pins Nakamura. Do I like this? I'm not that happy because I love Nakamura. Grand Metalik is a great wrestler, but not the same caliber.
No.
So but I mean, I understand for storyline purposes, we gotta like make Shinsuke look like a freaking idiot. So Ryan, do you feel that way, or were you happy with the outcome?
Yeah, again, like I said, I'm fine with the outcome. I don't really think it affects the storyline that much going forward because that they're gonna have the eventual title match coming at SummerSlam, I imagine. So get the babyface over here, and I'm sure they'll set up the match next week then on SmackDown.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. So Mandy Rose, guys, she got a promo. She's like, hey, I had to work a lot. It's not that like everybody says like I have a pretty face. I'm that beautiful, and that's why they handed everything to me, and that's why I date one of like the ugliest guys in the roster. No. Like Otis is legit, but like she's like pretty much asking Sonya for a hair versus hair match at SummerSlam. So, am I excited about this? I am, because it's like finally they're going to have the big blow up of the rivalry, and I'm really excited about that. Let's start with Paul.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. A hell of a promo by Mandy Rose. She was like, oh yeah, I was handed everything. Like when I was going through college and working 3 jobs, that was me, just being handed everything. And she's a good promo too. Like, when you see her, you think, oh God, here's going to be like a Sable or somebody like that. Like, ugh. But no, she cuts a fiery, legit promo. She is working. Every time we see her wrestle, I always feel like she is getting a little better, and I love her finisher. And I'm like, okay, I'm excited for this match. And there's actually a legit stipulation. Obviously, Mandy's going to go over. They're not going to shave her head. I'm sure Sonya won't, she won't care to shave her head. So that will be legit. But, I'm excited for this match because, we've been saying it for how long? This is one of the longest running feuds if you go back to when this first legit started on SmackDown.
Oh yeah, that was like probably like last year. So Ryan,
that was before WrestleMania.
Yeah, I would say this is probably one of the hottest feuds they have going on right now in WWE. And the stipulation's interesting to me It makes sense based on what Sony did 2 weeks ago with cutting off her hair. When was the last time there was a hair versus hair match? Because I feel like it's been a long time since we've seen that gimmick attached to
WrestleMania 20, probably. Oh, well, no. The Battle of the Millionaires.
Yeah,
I was going to say
Trump
and McMahon.
Trump and Vince. Yeah. Our current, President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, and Vince Kennedy McMahon. So, like, yeah, that's what the last time. You're pretty accurate on that, Ryan. Yeah. Like,
so it's been a while since we've seen that.
13 years, so it's good.
I'm excited for it.
Oh, yeah, it's like, and like John Paul said, a great promo by Sonya. Like, you will see the intensity, and also by Mandy. Like, you see, like, they both are trying to make this go over. You know, because they have Bayley and Sasha that are pretty much carrying the women's division. But it's like, hey, don't forget about us. We're gonna put a good show, and like maybe whoever gets the win, that could be a potential contender for a championship, right, guys? Don't you think?
Oh,
like,
definitely.
Hey, whoever wins. Or maybe like a bold Sonya Deville, she can be like, okay, I want to be champion now. So I want gold. So we can see that. But let's go now to like the guy from like Jean Paul Lopes, the bro, Matt Riddle. Like he's talking to Kayla Braxton. Yeah, Ryan, you probably like that. He goes, "Can I call you bro, Kayla?" Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So of course he has to call everybody bro. He's saying like, he's talking about Baron Corbin and all these activities with him, like the feud that is going on. But then Shorty Gable shows up and he apologizes to Matt Riddle. So I was acting stupid. I don't know what I was doing. Forgive me. So hey, so Matt Riddle is like, yeah, bro, we're bros. He's all good. But then he's attacked by King Corbin one more time. But see, you don't see that they're aligned anymore. Like Shorty Gable and King Corbin, they're not in the same.
Yeah, I mean, Corbin, he kind of hinted it, but I think it was more just to kind of get heat on Shorty G with Riddle because he's like, oh, yeah, good job helping me out there, ha, 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 and just, like, walked away. And then he was like, oh, my God, like, Dios mío. And he had his hair. He's like, oh, it's done. And he's like, and then Matt Riddle, he's laid on the ground. And the only thing he heard was, oh, thanks for helping me out, Shorty. So then, that maybe that builds heat. We're going to see another match, between these two, or I guess like a legit match between these two. And, I mean, I'm excited. Matt Riddle, the one thing, it's like, oh, Baron Corbin, really? But at least he's being presented so far in a legit manner, getting a lot of wins on SmackDown.
Yeah, I think so too. So, Ryan, do you think that, like, Matt Riddle is being presented good? How about Shorty? Like, would you just make him heel all the way, or like should you just go back to be babyface, or Chad Gable?
I think Shorty should go back to being babyface. I hope this is a step in the right direction. And yeah, to your first question, I do think Riddle's been presented well, and I wish Sean Paul was like, all right, well, it's Corbin, but I think that'll be a good stepping stone to get him a legit win. Then you can push him into something further, bigger and better. Just get him that he's on the map. We presented him. He's over. Just push him up to further up the card.
Right there, you got it from the Legend Killer, and that's true. Like that's the only guy that out of like 10,000 call-ups that he's been able to actually remain Matt Riddle and remain good. Let's go talk about like the hottest thing that they have on SmackDown. Alexa Bliss. Interview time with Alexa Bliss. They pretty much went over like the whole friendship, what like thing that they have going on with Braun Strowman from the days of like the Mixed Match Challenge. They had like the connection and all of that. So that's what like pretty much like they asked Alexa, hey, you were friends with Braun. How do you feel about this thing? And said, well, we used to be friends. We care for each other. We were legit, pretty good. And he's like, well, how do you feel about when he said that like he doesn't give a damn about you? And she's like, the first question was like, do you feel some type of way romantically about Braun?
Nah.
And she's like,
so.
She's like, oh, Ryan Cabrera, Braun, tall guy, bigger boobs than
he's like, Ryan Cabrera,
yeah,
Braun,
so like,
Ryan Cabrera, Braun.
Maybe, and he can afford the $400 for a cameo. So yeah, it's like, maybe. It's like, all right, so like, hey, but at least Braun got a shot. He never knew he got a shot, so that sucks for Braun. But anyway, so Lady's like, hey, well, he called you like he doesn't give a damn about you. So how do you feel about that, Alexa? And then and done. So this promo, I mean, I like she's a good actress. I will say that. She sold me on the whole thing and the few tears right there.
This was a lot better than her.
Great actress.
Yeah, this was a lot better than her cutting a promo. Like she's not even that good. Or when she has to host the Moment of Bliss, like, oh, those are some of the most cringy segments. Like remember when she had like the NWO and all them on?
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Oh my God, it's like. But this, was a legit manner. If this is how you have to use her to help storylines further, you know, and like help things progress better, then I'm all for it. As long as she's not in the ring winning championships, I'm good.
Yeah, and you, Ryan?
Yeah, I was very surprised at how well she did, you know, acting, as you're saying. And it's one of those things where you forget that WWE can actually book things and think things out. Because I've said it before, when they showed her Extreme Rules, I thought it was going to be like, okay, Fiends, he's just fucking with Braun, don't move on. But I never expected she'd be like a key part of this storyline. And I'm a big fan of it.
No, yeah. No, and then see, like, a lot of people are teasing, like, we can actually see the debut of Sister Abigail. Like, legit, she was the chosen one to be Sister Abigail. So, like Ryan said, like, we were just so, I only thought it was going to be a cameo, and that was it. But now the fact that, like, they incorporated her, pretty much.
A $400 cameo?
I mean, there you go. Like, well, they did $400, and also, like, they took away Nikki Cross from her. So, you know, there you go. It's like, okay, you're on your own, and at least you don't have to wrestle, girl. So you'll be fine. You won't be exposed. Just be a good actress. So I really like this, and like the storyline is becoming really more interesting for me because the Fiend against Braun, the title, not too much. But now that Alexa's in the middle of all of this, hey, you know, I'm a guy. I'm sorry. I gotta like this a little better. So talking about this, guys, then we go to like Sonya Deville. She's addressing Mandy Rose. She's pretty much saying that, hey, you know, like Mandy, you're gonna look so good, but you're gonna look beautiful, bald. So I accept. So officially, they're going to have a match at SummerSlam, and her versus her. We already mentioned it. We're all excited. I think Sonya as a heel, she's very good, and like finally, she's going to make her breakup. She's going to have her solo thing. So I'm really excited for this. And like Jean Paul said, next week we're going to have Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles for the IC belt. So like SmackDown is going to be the go home show for SummerSlam. It's going to be really good. The three of us will be here talking about this. So exciting times, family. And now we go to finally the kind of like the semi-main event. John Morrison and Big E finally takes place. I don't know why is this a main event, but hey, you know. And then a lot of action for Retribution because the lights kept flickering. Like, so, you know, did somebody pay the bill? Like, what's going on? And see, I kind of didn't like too much, like how like Michael Cole is like, we see what Retribution is doing. In the back, they're taking care of the referees, like a few members of the staff. And like they're beating them up, and then they sign, like they did the logo of the WWE, and then they do like the circle, and that doesn't go anymore. But you see Michael Cole, they're not there, guys. They're not there. They're over here. They're over here. And nobody pays attention.
Yeah, because the whole roster, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was, and then eventually they were all like, oh shit, they're in the back, and they all went. So I'm like, that's fine. But see, I feel like Corey Graves, like if Michael Cole, you know, he's play-by-play, whatever. Corey Graves should have took off his headset and yelled and like walked over and been like, guys, they're in the back, like we see it on the monitor. Instead of being like, oh, they're not here. Like, who are you talking to? Your neighbor? Or are you being robbed? Like, you know, show a little bit more, like, you know.
That shows you that, like, they're trying to kidnap you. You're just going to be like, hey. You know,
yeah, and unfortunately, you know, in the opening segment, like you said, this match was a complete afterthought. And here tonight, I mean, I love John Morrison. He's one of my favorite wrestlers on SmackDown. Big E is legit as well. But this match, again, it was only an afterthought because, you know, then Otis came out. He was going after The Miz. And I do want to say, I think Otis looks like he lost some weight. He still looks big, but I think he looks slimmed down.
Like the belly's like a little push.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, I mean, you know, the whole match, it was an afterthought. But, you know, it was legit. Unfortunately, you know, I don't know if they're teasing the storyline or if they just don't give a shit about John Morrison. But Big E got the win here. You know, he did that stunt. What is it called?
He did a submission hold. Submission hold, and then
it's like a stump puller or something like that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So Ryan, yeah, your thoughts on this? Like, did you like this whole thing? Because like to me, it looked a little dumb, but just for me in my book.
I was a fan of what Retribution did. I agree with you guys. I didn't like how commentary portrayed it, and I was very excited for the Big E Morrison match. I'm a big fan of both of them, but as Sean Paul said, it's an afterthought. So it's unfortunate that this was a match that got chosen to put all the Retribution stuff with. But I mean, I guess better this than just some random squash match.
You know what we could have saw? We could have saw this match been legit, and then the Chad Gable Shorty G that nobody, or not Chad, yeah, this is the same guy, Shorty G and Sheamus match. You know, then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's when Retribution could have attacked.
Yes, yeah. I mean, like you guys said, like, oh, the fact that like he's like, oh, they're over there, but like nobody cares. And then one of the referees, one of the girls came out, is like, oh, they're right here. And now everybody like, shh.
Yeah.
Like, okay, woo, you know, like that. And it didn't come out too great. As Big E keeps winning, Why? Because it's really pushing Big E, so that's cool. A lot of people are loving this. I think it's maybe too late for me, but like it's good to see Big E doing something else. So let's go to like pretty much the last segment on the show, and that was Braun Strowman. He comes out right after they didn't even go to commercial. He's bald now. I guess he could afford finally a haircut, so he's bald. Really, really upset. He's like he wants the Fiend, but instead of getting the Fiend, Alexa Bliss comes out. So like that's when it gets good, you know, like because she's like pretty much talking to him, and there's like two love interests talking to each other. So that to me was really, really good. She's like, hey, Braun, like I gotta talk some sexing to you. Like we used to be so good, like really friends. We really care for each other. I cannot believe that like you just said these things about me. And he's like, well, once you're in the presence of the Fiend, then you're never the same, and that's gonna happen to you. And he's like, oh, get out of my ring. And he's like, want the Fiend. So, and he's like, oh, I guess I got to do something to you to wake you up. And she starts slapping him. You know, and like, really.
He's like, you made me sing those bullshit songs in your car. This is all bullshit. And it's like, yeah. I mean, it was like, am I watching All My Children? Is this General Hospital? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Am I watching my Telemundo soap opera?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. So, Ryan, give me your thoughts on this.
I like the segment. I thought it was very entertaining, and it was good to have, you know, Strowman, who I really like the way he looks bald. I think he looks so much better, and he looks a lot more menacing. He looks like an actual monster now. Not that he didn't before. He'd still kick my ass like in any day of the week. But now
anybody's ass, yeah. But
I liked it. I liked again what Alexa was doing here, like what he did, and I really like how they're pushing the Fiend changes you. You know, Fiend change. You know, Balor sent him down to NXT, or maybe even up to NXT, however you want to call it. Change Rollins and Monday Night Messiah. So I really like that they're doing it. That the Fiend, just something about him, just it changes you as a wrestler and as a person.
Yeah, it was a great segment. I really loved it. You know, where like both of them are laughing in the end. You know, like what, and then at the end is like it's kind of like the Simpsons. Those are like yeah.
Because in the Fiend was he? Did he actually come out on stage then?
He was, yeah. Well,
yeah, he was out on stage.
He was. Well, like, Braun is about to throw Alexa, and he didn't let it go. And then, of course, they did the same thing that they did with Ric Flair. So, like, the lights went off, and then the Fiend came on. And then Braun Strowman was actually in Titantron. And then they're laughing. So that's what it was. So I really liked it. I mean, like, SmackDown really good. I really liked it. The show ended up in a good note. I mean, if you don't like this, hey, you know, maybe you should start watching other kind of wrestling shows, at least. And so, guys, like this pretty much sums it up, SmackDown for us. You know, we're going to start with the closing thoughts from Mr. Legend Killer Ryan Whitman. So, overall, you know, are you excited for next week? And are you getting excited for what's going to be a really, really busy week next week? We're going with, like, all the shows, NXT TakeOver, and SummerSlam.
Yes, this show definitely got me a lot more excited for the upcoming next weekend of SummerSlam and TakeOver, and even next week's SmackDown. It got me more excited than I'd say any other SmackDown has these past few weeks in the build up to SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer.
Yeah, that's true. And Mr. Leek.
No, I agree. I'm excited next week. You know, busy week. You know, even Tuesday. You know, with Impact and everything. So Emergence. You know, a lot of great stuff coming next week. And if SmackDown and even Monday Night Raw, hopefully, you know, Raw wasn't even the worst show last week. There was some good stuff. So hopefully this is a step in the right direction for the shows, and hopefully SummerSlam is a legit pay-per-view, and WWE's actually, you know, stepping up their game moving forward.
So I guess the ratings are actually something that they care about, so they finally
the demo god.
That has got to step it up. Yeah, the Shawn Michaels is confirmed for Monday Night Raw, so another superstar is going to be killed by Randy Orton. So we'll be covering that also. So, you know, family, thank you so very much for watching. Jump-O, remind everybody where they can find us in the social media world, please. You
can find us on Instagram and Facebook, The Original Rope Break, Twitter, The OG Rope Break, and right here on YouTube for the Meat and Potatoes, the best podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, The Original Rope Break.
That's right, family. So, you know, remember, like, in the name of the Legend Killer, Ryan Whitman, Jean-Paul Egg, and myself, there's only one more thing that we got to say to you, and that is...